Good morning, Commissioner Eskridge.
Good morning.
Commissioner Eskridge, could you speak one more time? We're just testing the volume. It's a little loud in the room, so we just turned your microphone up.
Sure. Is that better, Cassie?
Yes, sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, it's 8 a.m. I'll call the meeting of the Madison Metropolitan Sewerage District to order. Welcome to all of our guests. Cassie, would you go through the virtual meeting guidance, please?
Great. Good morning, commissioners, members of the public, and staff. To help us have a smooth meeting, I'm going to review just a few decorum rules for all. While the commission and staff are in person, we are still offering a Zoom option so members of the public can attend. If you're attending virtually and would like to speak, you can do so during appearances by the public. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube, and the public chat has been disabled, but you can still send messages to the host if need be. Finally, commissioners, please use your microphones while speaking and ensure your mic is off, that the light is turned off if you're not speaking, so others can utilize the mic. As a reminder, only 3 of the table mics can be live at a time. Also, please ensure you state your name before speaking for those who may be joining us via Zoom. Those are the decorum rules of the District Commission. Thank you for following them, and let's have a great meeting.
Thank you, Cassie. Any announcements, Bill?
I do have one. I want to draw people's attention to consent calendar item 3E. This is a change to the schedule of one of our capital projects, biosolids handling. In reviewing the 2025 capital plan, we realized it would be to our advantage to start working on that a little bit earlier than we had previously planned. But in order to do that, we have to amend this year's capital budget. So we're not changing the total project cost or anything about the project. We're giving ourselves power to do it a little bit earlier. That's why that's a consent item, even though it might sound like a big issue.
Okay, thank you, Bill. And that moves us to, we have 2 welcomes. First is Nathaniel Hayden. We'll welcome Alexander Finnegan.
My name is Nathaniel Hayden. I'm the operator supervisor. I want to introduce Alex Finnegan. He was an operator previously for about 2 years, and he comes from Illinois. He's new to the area, so he's going to explore some of the entertainment we have here outdoors, and he likes some music. Thank you.
Okay, then we have Alan Grooms. We'll introduce Margaret Neff as a performance.
Good morning, Commission. Alan Grooms, Operations Manager. I'm introducing Rita Neff. She's our new Regulatory Performance and Process Engineer. She's coming to us. She worked at Manitowoc Public Utilities for about 7 years. Prior to that, she was a Peace Corps volunteer in Peru doing water and sanitation projects. She's got a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from University of Kansas and a master's from Michigan Technological University. And in her free time, she enjoys theater, archery, and sewing. So we're pleased to have her aboard. She brings a lot of expertise with her. So please join me in welcoming Rita.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. That moves us to appearances by the public. Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to make an appearance in the room? Anybody in the room? None? Do we have anybody virtually? I don't see any hands being raised, so we'll move on. That takes us to the consent calendar where we have, excuse me, the approval of the minutes from the 27th of June meeting, cash statement capital, review and approval of sanitary sewer extension plans. Basically, I think it's the one in Cottage Grove. Approval of second quarter 2024 sewer service charges. And that information, I think, was sent out yesterday. And then authorization for the biosolids facilities plan that Bill had mentioned. Do we have any questions or comments or anything before we get a motion? No? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
This is Commissioner Freeze. I'll move approval.
Motion by Commissioner Freeze, second by?
Seconded. Murphy.
Oh, motion by Commissioner Freeze, second by Commissioner Murphy to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, that takes us to topics where A and B are related to each other and C and D are related to each other. So is Mark Brunner going to give a presentation or are we just moving? Okay, Mark.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mark Bruner. I'm an electrical project engineer for the district here. I'm also the project manager for items 4A and 4B. So I'm going to provide a short presentation on the Pine Springs Wastewater Treatment Plant electrical service replacement, equipment replacement. We're going to talk about the bid and award contract and also the professional service agreement amendment. Next slide, please. On the left side of the screen is a map of the treatment plant, which shows generally where the equipment that's going to be touched in this project is located. It's sort of the northwest corner near the Nine Springs substation. You can see the little pin there. Substation is owned by Madison Gas and Electric. The district is fortunate to have a substation so close by because it provides very good power continuity for our plant. If you look at that red rectangle, it's sort of cut off by the bottom line. Yep. So that's the effluent/disinfection building. And we have a little closer map further on in the presentation. On the right is a general layout of the sort of the main service equipment of the plant. We get two services from the MG&E substation up there on the top at 13,800 volts, separate services, and that feeds into the H1 switchgear, which also operates at 13,800 volts, and then that power goes through one of the two transformers at a time. So we have redundancy in this system, so the entire plant can operate off of one half or the other. And then that feeds into the S1 switchgear, which operates at 4160 volts. Those transformers serve to step down the voltage from 13.8 to 4160. And from there, the power is distributed to the substations throughout the plant, where it's stepped down further, typically to 480 volts or below to operate most of the plant equipment. One thing to note is in that diagram, the orange text notes the equipment that's going to be replaced. And the colored arrows kind of is meant to show how the redundancy works in the plant. So one side of the arrows would be active at a time. So there's a lot of redundancy built into that system. Next slide, please. The general scope of work for this project is to replace the H1 switchgear, replace the two large transformers, replace the S1 switchgear and build a new building to enclose that, replace distribution cables throughout the plant. In the lower left-hand corner, text is a little small, but the effluent building is kind of cut off in the middle by the bottom of that photo. That's where the S1 switchgear is currently located. The small light-colored building next to the truck towards the middle of that photo is where the existing H1 switchgear is located. And then kind of north and east of that are the two large transformers. Substation. I've included some photos of the existing equipment. Next slide, please. To design this project, we hired Donahue and Associates back in 2022 to start planning. We executed an amendment for design services in 2023. We've spent about the last year designing the project. We came up with the layout shown on the screen here. You can see the left of the two transformers is the new S1 building. That'll be a brick and mortar type building to enclose the new S1 switchgear. So that switchgear will no longer be inside the effluent building. And we eliminated the H1 switchgear enclosure, and we're going to put those circuit breakers right next to the transformers in their own separate enclosures. And then you can see the new transformers are going to go roughly in the same location as the existing. Next slide, please. When we bid the project, we advertised it in early June of this year. Had 17 plan holders, 4 pre-qualified prime bidders. We had 18 people attend pre-bid meeting, and we received 4 bids. Our bid opening was on June 26th, and Will Surge Electric was the low bidder, and their bid was $9,235,730, compared to the engineer's estimate, which was $11,392,500. Worth noting that engineer's estimate had a 20% contingency on it, so there's a lot of unknowns with this type of equipment currently. It used to have a 6-month lead time and be pretty readily available. Now it's about a 2-year lead time to get the equipment, so there's a lot of uncertainty. There was a lot of uncertainty on where our prices were going to come in. So the 3 lowest bids were all relatively close together, which is usually a good indication that there's good competition, and your bidders are understanding the contract documents in a similar fashion. We have not worked with Will Surge Electric in the past. They're based out of Butler, Wisconsin, but they did pre-qualify with us. We did call references, and they appear to be qualified, financially stable, and they have staff and equipment necessary to perform the work. Slide, please. In the 2024 CIP, our construction estimate was $11,180,000. Our current construction estimate, based on the low bid, is $9,710,000. And the total project cost in the 2024 CIP was $13.7 million. And our updated current total project cost estimate is $11,630,000. Next slide, please. Moving on to the professional service agreement amendment. This contract was set up in stages, so initially we advertised an RFP for planning and preliminary engineering services. I mentioned some dates earlier on that. I won't go back through that. Donahue has done a good job for us. They've delivered documents on time, been very responsive. We'd like to move forward with them in the construction phase, and they provided a construction services proposal of $626,300. Next slide, please. So based on all of the information provided, we're requesting that the Commission approve Resolution 2024-711-R4, is review of bids and award of contract for the construction contract. And we ask that you approve Resolution 2024-7-11-R5, is to approve the transaction amount for the construction-related services with Donahue. Once we receive approval from the Commission, we'll start construction in July of 2024, and we plan to be complete by February of 2027. Next slide, please. That's the end of my presentation, so I'll take any questions now.
Okay, anyone have any questions? Seeing none, oh, Beth, sorry.
I know we approved this project a while back, but could you refresh my memory as to exactly why we are doing this?
Yes, I'd be happy to.
Great.
The equipment that we're talking about was installed in the early 1980s, and the expected service life for that type of equipment is about 40 years. So we're getting to a point where replacement parts are only available secondhand. And also, the H1 enclosure, you can sort of see daylight in some spots. It's getting pretty deteriorated. So because of the criticality of the equipment, it makes sense to replace it now. before we have big problems which could cause issues with actually treating the wastewater.
Okay, and, Commissioner Rummel, I couldn't see the name.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks for the presentation. My question is maybe for Bill. And on the agenda information, it mentioned, pending clean water funds. And I'm wondering if Bill could just give us an update on where we're at with the clean water funds as our sources of funding versus going out to, use other sources like borrowing.
Glad to. This is Bill Walker, Interim Executive Director. The update is very short, which is from the Clean Water Fund program point of view, there's no new information for us, and we won't have any until the end of the year when they update their planning list, and then even later when the next state biennial budget is passed. So we are proceeding, as we've talked about in other meetings, working with our municipal financial advisor to evaluate our financial options and proceed with a bonding option to make sure that we are able to finance all of these projects. So we're sort of operating in the dark in that sense, but we have a clear plan to make sure that there's enough money. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Bill.
I got a question kind of related to both. If the timing, I don't know how, you said the switchgear can be up to 2 years away. So I don't know, when does this project actually kind of start? Will we have expended a lot of money before we even know about, maybe we'll know about the Clean Water Fund loan, next June or July before this project even starts ramping up?
It's entirely possible, and I won't predict the future any more than that.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, do we have a motion to approve 4A, the review of bid and award of contract for the electrical service equipment replacement?
I'll move to approve for A.
A motion by Commissioner Bookland, second by...
I'll second.
Second by...
Commissioner Meyer.
Second by Commissioner Meyer. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, then we'll move to item 4B, the change the transaction amount where we save about $2 million. And it looks, I think that's about the same amount, the 20%. Probably pretty close. And do we have any further comments or discussion on this? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Bookland, second by Commissioner Meyer.
Again. Commissioner Meyer.
Okay. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay, that will take us to the flow splitter. Kaylin Hackelor? And hope I didn't mangle your name.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Kaylin Hackelor, and I will be presenting on the Flow Splitter Improvements Project, the approval of transaction amount and professional service agreement amendment, and the review of bids, award of contract, and increase in total project budget. So based off this map, the flow splitter can be seen in the red square. It is right next to the headworks facility. Currently, all of the influent flow enters into headworks, and then after the screening and grit removal, it then enters into the flow splitter. Within the flow splitter, there's a system of weirs and troughs that divides the flow to either the west plant or the east plant. Sometimes it's in 50-50, but we have the ability to split the flow in 5% increments based off of the current design of the structure. And currently, all of the flow that enters the plant will go through the structure. There is no means to bypass around this structure. Next slide. So this structure was built during the 10th edition and is currently about 18 years old. Due to the harsh environment from the wastewater entering and the turbulence, as well as the lack of airflow through the structure, the protective coating on the concrete has begun to fail, and as you can see, is peeling off, which is causing the concrete below to begin to degrade, and now we have exposed rebar within the structure, which you can see within these pictures. Next slide, please. So within this project, the district plans to construct a new permanent bypass structure that will convey the flow through gravity. When we're constructing this new bypass structure around the flow splitter, it will require a little bit of bypass pumping, but at no point will we be pumping all of the flow. And then once this bypass structure is installed, the flow splitter itself can undergo the rehab and improvements, which will include replacing the weirs and troughs within the flow splitter, removing the concrete and replacing it with the fiber reinforced plastic, and also removing some of the top deck concrete and replacing it with grading so that there is more passive ventilation and airflow into the flow splitter itself, as well as just repairing any of the rebar and concrete and completely replacing the coating inside the flow splitter. Construction for this project will be determined after the commission approval, but can start up as early as October of 2024, and the completion of this project should be at the end of 2025. This project was advertised 2 times in the Wisconsin State Journal at the end of May and early June. We had approximately 15 plan holders, which consisted of prime bidders, subcontractors, and a variety of suppliers. We received pre-qualifications from 2 prime bidders and 4 subcontractors. We had 11 people attend the pre-bid meeting, and we received 2 bids for this. The bids were accepted on June 25th, 2024, with the low bid from August Winters and Sons being $6,435,000. And the engineer's estimate for this project from the 2024 budget was $5,125,000. And then August Winters and Son is qualified, financially stable, and also has prior experience with this equipment and has also worked with the district. This project is also anticipated to be funded with the Clean Water Fund, pending approval, but all of the contract documents are written to comply with the Clean Water Fund and FABA requirements. So the current construction estimate is $6,820,000. The budgeted amount was $4,495,000. The current total project cost estimate is $7,600,000, and the total budgeted amount was $5 million. For the next portion is the approval of the transaction amount and professional service agreement amendment for the flow splitter construction services. This is for stage 4 of the construction services. Grand Associates has been involved in this project through all stages of the project and has performed well. And they also are very knowledgeable of the project itself. and we would like to retain them for construction services. The construction services proposed cost is $252,000. Next slide. And I am requesting the approval of resolution 2024-07-11 R6 and resolution 2024-07-11 R7.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions before we? Craig?
So the engineer question for the day is, the plastic coating or the protective coating lasted less than 20 years. So are we doing something better with the retrofit to make it last longer, or is there no better solution and we just got to plan on redoing this every 20 years?
For now, we believe that increasing ventilation into the flow splitter will help because it will reduce the amount of harsh chemicals that currently just trapped within the flow splitter. Also, it will be a newer coating. Some of the technologies have increased a little bit, and as well as now we do have a means to bypass the flow structure, so we can inspect it, and if there is a need to take it down and either repair the coating before there is major structure damage or concrete damage, not sure. That is now going to be possible in the future.
So the follow-up to that is to Mr. Dundee, right? So this would become part of PM, right? Would you guys have a plan in place to then look at this on a annual, semi-annual basis or something like that?
Yeah, so after the construction is done, we'll be working with our normal asset structure to figure out what the PM would be. You know, there's a lot of parts in there beyond just the structural coating. But yeah, with the new bypass channel, that's going to make things go from zero better instantly. So that'll just be part of the commissioning process.
Both.
Okay, anybody else? I got a question. What caused it? Was there a change in scope, or what caused the $2 million, $7 million increase?
I'll take that one. First of all, I think our estimate from last year was low, and I think that was a function of timing of when we put it together. So we weren't really even, we were not even that far underway with our engineering study at the time when we're putting together the estimate. So estimate was a bit of a crapshoot, and it was too low. Second is just that it's a, for lack of a better word, a putsy project. There's lots of like staging with bypassing different areas, and there's lots of kind of like coordination. It's hard to kind of quantify, it's not a linear foot price per pipe or something. There's, that gray area. So I think that's, that's reflected there too, that it's kind of a lot of monkeying around.
Okay, and then one last question. This was a design, possibly a design issue with the original 10th edition. I think the 10th edition not only had an engineer design it, but they also went through value engineering. Apparently nobody decided to question, or if they did question, nobody decided to take it. There's nobody in the room anymore that remembers that. But was Strand, nobody knows if Strand was one of the original engineers in the 10th edition, do they, or not?
I don't believe that they were.
Okay.
I guess I could,
Jeff
knows. Jeff knows.
I thought.
Yeah. Jeff Klaus, one of our project engineers, is in the room, who has been around longer, and he remembers that it was Black and Beach.
Yeah, that's what I kind of. Okay, thank you. Ezra.
I think this is our first project we designed and engineered for BABA compliance. One of the first, if not the first. Did that have an impact on what we're thinking it's going to cost? Or do we have a sense of the
It's really hard. Yeah, it's really hard to quantify that, because I'm not sure how you would necessarily know, other than everybody is saying BABA's going to cost, 10, 20% more. For this particular one, I'm not, you know, this one was one where we were, compared to the electrical service equipment project, if we were trying to do that with BABA, you know, I would be, mortally terrified. But this one, there's less, it's not as much equipment, you know, and concrete's made in the U.S. The gates are, you know, we know the gates can be made in the U.S. We know the fiberglass stuff can be made in the U.S. So we were less, wary, I guess. So to me, I think that the price, yes, I imagine there is a price increase. How much it is, I don't know. And I think it's probably not terribly significant on this project because of the components of the project. But that all remains to be seen, I think, as we get into.
Bill has something to say, and then Tom.
Bill Walker again. I just want to provide a little context for commissioners. With both the difficulties with Clean Water Fund and the advent of BABA, we have adopted a practice of looking at projects as a team and making a kind of informed decision about which funding source we'll use, considering some of the factors that Lisa mentioned. So we have decided a couple projects, which I am unable to name right now, to not pursue Clean Water Fund because of the risk of the cost increases that she was describing. So we're trying to take a more comprehensive look at these issues and pick the optimal approach.
Okay, Tom?
I just want to say that when I look at your CAR, the memo that we get, it really explains at the bottom the difference in costs and where they came from, and what everybody's asked questions about were mentioned there, so yay. And I don't have a problem with either one of these. With the increase in costs, I can see where it would come from. And then when you looked at what you have and all of the, I can't remember what you said, all of the muckety muck or whatever in working the project, I could see where it would cost. If we're ready to move forward, I'm ready to make a motion.
Tom? Okay, well, for anybody else have a comment or question? Okay, hearing none. Tom?
Then I'll move that we award the contract as recommended and the resolution recommended.
Motion by Commissioner Wilson. Do we have a second?
Second, Commissioner Freeze.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Wilson, second by Commissioner Freeze. Any further discussion? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, that moves us to the approval of the transaction amount. Motion, Commissioner Wilson.
I'll make a motion to approve the change in the transaction.
And second by Commissioner Freeze. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries. Okay. That takes us to the item E, which is the consider and possibly take action on the Executive Director Search Subcommittee. Well, we met for 4+ hours yesterday, interviewing 3 of 7 firms that made submittals for proposals. That's one reason I didn't get through the whole staff report. But proposals for the RFP for the Executive Director Search. So we interviewed the 3, and we had a discussion, and what determination is that we have a top firm, and staff is going to contact that firm regarding some nuances that we have, and see if those can be, we're thinking they're rather minor, that they can be rather easily handled. And then we hope to then have a resolution for approval at the next meeting. So that's, we will be meeting after, this subcommittee will be meeting after our meeting here today, and we'll be getting presentations on the survey results from the customer community survey and focus group and the employee survey. So anybody who wants to, welcome to attend. That's all I have on the Executive Director Search, unless anybody else has anything to add from our subcommittee. Okay. That will take us to the Executive Director report. Bill?
I don't have anything, but Amanda Wegner is going to give an update on Badger Mill Creek.
Thank you, Bill. So Amanda Wegner, Communications and Public Affairs Director. So we are, we've shared this before, but we are now in the carb seed process of the Badger Mill Creek phosphorus compliance work that we have been doing for a number of years now. So the carb seed process is a 3-step process. We provided our amendment to them last month, and they had an initial meeting. Tonight is their public hearing. It is in the town of Verona with a virtual option. If anyone from commission or in the room or listening to this wants to attend, Marty Griffin, our Director of Ecosystem Services, will be presenting at that meeting tonight. There is then the public hearing portion, and then it turns back to the Carp Seed Commission to be able to ask questions of us. So we've been busy preparing for that over the last few weeks. A few commissioners have submitted comments on behalf. There is also an opportunity to comment again before their third and final meeting in August when they make the decision. And we've also reached out to a handful of others who had previously commented in favor of the discontinuance when the commission took this up in May of 2023. So thank you to those commissioners who commented. If others are interested and want to do so for the August meeting, please reach out to me. But yes, continuing that process. So the CARPC will basically recommend or not recommend our amendment, which then goes to DNR for the final decision. So this is essentially DNR contracts with CARPC to do this public engagement process. We're right in the middle of it, but this whole process is moving forward. So just a quick update on that.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Vanessa, regulatory and legal.
Good morning, Commissioners. I don't have much of an update on the regulatory and legal report today. I think most of this was included in your agenda packet at the last meeting as well. Just one note that I think since that last meeting, we heard that EPA is anticipating completion of its biosolids assessment study on PFAS in September of this year. So we knew it was coming out in 2024, but we've heard now that it should be September. And that study will provide a lot more information than we have right now about stage and transport of PFAS in biosolids. So it'll be an important document for us to take a look at. And then I did want to note that there's also an EPA guidance out right now for public comment on destruction and disposal of PFAS. That is open for public comment through October, so we'll be taking a look at that. Happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Okay, seeing none, future meeting schedule, that's in the packet. And so our next meeting's on the 25th. Then I think it was 8/8 after that, and then the 2 weeks after that. So we will have some very long agendas on the 25th and the 8th. And on our Monday meetings, we've been trying to manage them and kind of moving things around to try to better balance. So be prepared for longer meetings. And then next meeting, the subcommittee will actually meet at 7:30 a.m. if I remember right, and then, so the commission meeting will be at 9 a.m. next meeting. Okay? Any future agenda topics? Any other business? Motion to...
I'll move that we...
Commissioner Wilson, motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? Commissioner Clark? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.